What a week we are in for. This is the final week of the Biden administration. Thank you, Lord. We've got to get through 7 more days. What's happening right now in California is beyond belief. I don't get it. If you can understand how in 2025 America, there is an inability to extinguish fires in a densely populated area like Los Angeles, I'm all ears. I get it. I understand natural disasters, but something about this is just doesn't make any sense. President Trump put out a post on Truth Social saying these people these politicians and this government leadership, they can't figure this out. That's what makes this guy so popular. That's what makes Donald, he speaks for everybody who hasn't had a voice. And I want to get into all of this with you in just a little bit. You can go down a rabbit hole. Man, there's some sites I follow on X and social media that will take you down there. This is an intentional effort. This is about power. These are, people that are setting them deliberately. And I keep wondering how it can be that 8 different locations, in other words, fires originated in 8 different places at the same time. I get the Santa Ana winds, and I get they call them the devil winds, and very unusual. But you're telling me when it gets windy in Southern California and it's dry, that's unusual enough to lead to 8 different wildfires igniting at the same time? I have no idea how you explain that. None whatsoever. Maybe you can help me understand it because I don't get it. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. And we got to figure it out. I mean, it seems to me that when you're next to an ocean, you should be able to utilize the resources of the geographic location that Los Angeles is in and extinguish fires. I do not understand meteorological terms. I don't understand the conditions. I don't understand the Santa Ana winds. What I know is thousands of people are homeless. The video that I've been watching is so chilling, and you've seen it too, and if you're there, you're living it. It's a strange thing when there's an event like this, whether it's a hurricane or a tornado or wildfires or a blizzard. When you're not in it, you don't fully understand it. You don't comprehend it. You can't appreciate it. Look, I don't even know the nuances of utilizing the ocean. Tracy heard somewhere that the salt water is bad for the equipment. But let's be real for a minute. Do you trust anything Karen Bass or Gavin Newsom tell us? They don't want people relying on social media. Well, of course they don't, because social media is calling them out. Newsom and Pocahontas, the Massachusetts senator, started directing people to a site that they said was going to help the wildfire victims, and it was through Act Blue, a political action committee that raises money for Gavin Newsom. Karen Bass declared a state of emergency, then hopped on a plane, went to Africa for a political event that the taxpayers paid for. You think she should be mayor? Are you kidding me? So all of it is a disgrace. All of it is an absolute unacceptable disgrace. And once again, Donald Trump takes to Truth Social and says, how in the world can they not put these fires out? It is one of the worst catastrophes in our country's history. And President Trump is all about it. I mean, I am very reluctant to start the blame game because I know people are hurting. People who lost everything don't care, about the political orientation of their leadership. But you hear these things like this stuff about the smelt and the snail darter, and they're trying to reposition the water, and they've got budget cuts, and on and on and on. And the argument is DEI is to blame. Now, make no mistake, the other side does the blame game too. They're blaming rich people. Of course, they're blaming Trump. So there's a lot of incoherence right now. But I just go back to Trump's very simple question. And it just, he's right. How can they not put these fires out? They're still raging. How many, was it going to wipe out the entire, Southern California region? How much are people going to put up with before people say this is unacceptable? Tracy came in today in the studio and she says, did you see Gavin Newsom? The way he's twitching and he looks like he's on something. And that inappropriate grin. I mean, on the one hand, he's pushing back on the claim that the reservoirs were empty because he said, oh, no, they were full. And then he turns around and calls for an investigation over empty reservoirs. See if you can make heads or tails out of this.
I don't know what he's referring to when he talks about the Delta smelt and reservoirs. The reservoirs are completely full, the state reservoirs here in Southern California. That mis and disinformation, I don't think advantages or aids any of us. Responding to Donald Trump's insults, we would spend another month. I'm very familiar with them. Every elected official that he disagrees with, very familiar with them.
We do know, though, from reporting here locally that one reservoir that serves the Palisades was not full.
And that's exactly what triggered my desire to get the investigation, to understand what was happening with that local reservoir. That was not a state system reservoir, which the president-elect was referring to.
Oh, really? You think he was distinguishing between a state designated reservoir? He wants to know why there's not water in the reservoirs, dummy. And you're spinning on NBC's Meet the Press. That's a spin. And guess what, pal? You're going to have to start dealing with President-elect Trump, because in 7 short days, he becomes your president, Gavin Newsom. And you're going to have to deal with him. And, of course, you're going to be begging for all kinds of federal funds. Look, I don't even know where to begin. I'll begin where I love to begin, and that's with you, our callers. 800-655-MIKE. It's Monday, January 13th. We're in the Relief Factor Studios. 800-655-6453. Do you believe that this is all just a natural disaster? And, it was the winds and it was the dry conditions and 8 fires, 8 different locations. But, what a coinkydink. It just all started at the same time. And how can the people of California believe a single word coming out of the mouths of any of their elected officials? It's unbelievable. I'm 800-655-MIKE, 800-655-6453. Hope you join us. Gosh, am I just so excited about the Trump presidency that when he posts something or says something, it sounds like me talking? Is it me? Doesn't this sound like you and me? Let me read his Truth Social post. And this was like it often is, middle of the night, 1:32 in the morning. Here's what he wrote. The fires are still raging in L.A. The incompetent politicians, have no idea how to put them out. Thousands of magnificent houses are gone. Many more will soon be lost. There's death all over the place. This is one of the worst catastrophes in the history of our country. They just can't put out the fires. What's wrong with them? Now, Trump haters will roll their eyes. They'll say he's a dummy, he's bombastic, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Isn't he asking what we're all asking? How hard is it to figure out how to put these fires out? How difficult is it? Next to an ocean? To contain wildfires? It's not like wildfires are a new phenomenon out there. And entire communities are gone. I saw a guy The community starts with an A. Anadina, or I forget the name of it. It was on 60 Minutes, where I watched Christopher Wray and that debacle of an interview, the outgoing FBI director. And this man stood there. He's a high school football coach. His family's lived there for generations, just weeping at everything is gone. Everything. Stories of people trying to use a garden hose. And L.A. is completely unprepared. Again, I've got way more questions than answers, so let me just turn to the smartest audience in the world, you. 800-655-MIKE. Tim, we'll start with you in Michigan. Welcome back, Tim.
Hey, Mike.
Hey.
This is nothing short of Neolithic incompetence by the leadership there. I mean, every year, fires. Every year, all of them are started by somebody, especially when we got 8 of them starting at different places. And it's just impossible. I mean, he's Nancy Pelosi's nephew or whatever, so the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
You want to know who the left says started the fires? You know what they're blaming it on, right?
Trump, probably.
Trump, rich people, and climate change.
The rich people houses are burning down, right?
Yeah, it's their fault. The rich people who are losing their houses. People are mocking James Woods. I've seen all these videos from these crazy lunatic leftists laughing at people losing their money. Look, if people hold up Luigi, it's just a little baby step to cheer the destruction of wealthy people's homes. And there are a lot more than wealthy people losing their homes. That guy on 60 Minutes last night wasn't a wealthy guy. Dan in Minnesota. Dan, welcome back.
Hey.
Hi.
This is morphed into something a lot worse than just wildfires. You have arsonists, looters, criminal elements that are setting fires now to overwhelm the fire department and the police department so that they can have access to looting. You know, it's horrible.
And it's like but Dan,
the military to come in. If you see somebody setting a fire, you need to just shoot them, blow them away.
It's like they don't.
These people need to be shot dead right on site.
Dan, can you hear me? You? Okay. And it's like they don't want anybody to know about the people with blowtorches. We've seen them on video, right? You've seen the reports of this, but they don't want to talk about that.
Yes, has never let a crisis go to waste. They took a real problem of wildfires, and now they're making it worse. All
right, thanks, Dan. One open line, 800-655-MIKE. Glenn in Glendale, Arizona. Hi, welcome, Glenn.
Yes, sir. So I back everything the last 2 callers said, but I have a little bit different take on it. Is we've seen these natural disasters, we've seen all these things happen before, and other kind of leadership. And I think it was James Woods or somebody was asking for tribunals to get these people out of office. But the problem is our country doesn't have that backbone. We're too soft as a nation to do that.
I know.
And I even say I'm gonna go even a little bit further, and I'm going to say that Gavin Newsom in particular and the mayor of L.A. Bass, they're going to get promoted, sir, because the people that vote for them, they hate us and our side so much that they would keep voting for this, sir.
Well, I gotta play this for you, Glenn. You check out Biden's FEMA chief on CBS News.
I know the winds themselves are rare for this particular time of year, but Los Angeles and the area, they got a lot of experience with wildfires. They have a lot of regulation and a large firefighting force. Do you have a sense at this point why the area was so unprepared?
I think that they were very prepared. This is something that they are very used to. They fight fires all the time, but they have never seen 100-mile-an-hour winds that are fueling the fire. And those winds and that weather condition is what really impacts, where this fire is going to go, but more importantly, how they're able to try to contain it in those first few hours and days. And because it was in such a populated area, it just makes it that much more challenging to be able to get in there and secure the perimeter, but as well try to save as many homes as possible.
There you go. Deanne Criswell, FEMA, they were very prepared. Yep, they were very prepared, all right. Tell that to the guy weeping in the middle of the rubble in his home that he's lost. But they were all very prepared. Holy cow, takes your breath away. 800-655-MIKE.